away. Makafui Awoku.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Hey, boss,
Makafui.
you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm good, and you?
Super awesome. You're such a lifesaver.
I am.
Well,
Aren't
because
you?
we don't know what to do with all the filth around us.
You see, when we see such innovations, right, we're yet to see the people behind it. And then your mind roams. I was expecting to see some, some gray-haired guy with some long beard with some spares that is sitting on the bridge of his nose.
A Professor Space.
Yeah.
You know what the Bible says about gray-haired people and young people? And the old men shall dream dreams, the young people shall see vision.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's the young who are supposed to drive the vision.
So where are you?
Me, I'm young.
So you have seen the vision.
Yes,
In
it's the young
plastic
who are
waste.
supposed to drive the vision.
Exactly.
The old are supposed to support the young to drive because we have the energy.
Is that your inspiration?
It's one of my inspirations.
Really?
Very well.
Where do you go to church?
Agape House. It's legal.
Okay.
Oh, Reverend Whitcomb? Okay. Okay. So he knows you've been doing this?
Oh, he's preached about it in the pulpit.
Oh, wow. Then you're a
great stuff.
superstar,
Do you get some of your raw materials from the church then?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So how long have you been doing this?
I call myself the accidental entrepreneur because in 2017, I was tired of the burning of the plastic because I have asthmatic allergies. I'm always reacting. Like, if I don't do something, I'm going to die. I won't be able to live my dreams. That was how I was thinking. So I was like, what can I do with the waste? And I was just asking myself. Sometimes we have questions for everybody, but we don't ask ourselves. So what can I do? That's the first place we start. But like, how about if I make a Christmas tree from plastic bottles? I was just talking to myself. So I started collecting plastics from where I was working. And then in the evenings and early morning before I go to work, I make a bit of the designs. I'm a design thinking person. So. And then a few days before Christmas, I had finished making the tree. I was living in a compound house in Medina, my hut. And then I went to the market to buy the light, the decor, I put it in it, and then I put it in front of my compound house where I lived, a typical Zongo community where the people are not even Christians. And the whole community came under the tree. Like, what is your business under a Christmas tree?
Light attracts.
And that was how it started. I put it on social media and it went viral. And then I had calls from more than 200 people saying, oh, we've been packing bottles for a while. We don't know what to do with it. Can we bring it to you? And I'm like, okay, I was just trying to do something. I didn't plan to, but people were excited. People wanted to be able to support. So like, what else can I do? So that was how I started.
Beautiful.
Interesting. Beautiful. Wow.
That's why you call yourself the accidental entrepreneur.
Yes.
Before becoming accidental, all right, who are you? Because why would you even be sitting down asking yourself, what can I do with waste? I mean, I'm sure that would be the last thing that will come into the minds of a lot of people. If you want to find jobs, if you want to do something, I don't think waste is the first thing that will come to your mind. So tell us about who you really are. Take us back, growing up, were you inspired? Was your mother maybe a water seller? Was your father manufacturing polythene?
Give us the history.
Who are you?
So my dad was a transport officer and then traveled a lot. So he was my mom was a nurse. I grew up in Keta in Sogakofe.
Okay.
And my mom, nurses sometimes they work shifts, night shift, afternoon, morning. And my mom didn't like me roaming about. Yeah. So when school is on vacation, she let me go and work in somebody's construction material shop. So I was exposed to tools. And then let me go and learn carpentry.
Which school was this?
That was in Sogakofe.
Okay.
I was in Sogasco Primary JSS.
Right.
Okay.
So at an early stage, I was able to learn how to use tools to make things, including hospital syringes. Sometimes the nurses, they have the syringes and things at home. So we'll take the syringe, we'll take all these cutters, and then we'll catch lizards and frog. We can skin them alive.
Surgery.
Watch their heartbeat, say we are doing a surgery.
Hey,
so why didn't you become a surgeon or something?
This is surgery he's doing.
I lost my mom in 2005 and my heart got broken, so I forgot about hospital-related stuff. But I lost my dad earlier. That was when I was 11.
My heart was not broken.
My dad was not around mostly, so it wasn't.
Don't worry, I understand. Cry more for money.
Yeah, so, and then when my dad was alive, he was driving a Toyota Hilux. It was a big car. I was too small, but at that point, I was able to change the oil. I could change the tires.
How
even
old were
though
you?
I couldn't drive. I was 11.
Okay.
I couldn't drive, so he didn't teach me driving back then, but I could change the oil, I could change the tires.
Right.
So
You've always been handy.
Yeah.
exactly. So
You
that
like
was the
to
kind
work
of
with your
upbringing
hands.
and training I have received. So anytime I see a problem, my mind is thinking of, okay, I can use that tool. I could try this. That's how my mind is always.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow.
And you grew up with it. So secondary school, university, tell us about all that.
So I went to Keta Secondary School.
Right, Keta
The
School.
famous Keta School. But before that, in Sogakofe, before pipe water came to the town, we used to fetch water from the Volta River and sell it to homes when we are not in school.
Right.
So my entrepreneurial journey actually started,
started
very
long
early.
ago,
So
yeah.
we used the money to buy toys and knockout and all this kind of stuff. So I went to Keta School. I did science, so that's the other side of it. I have a science background. That also helped a lot. I played hockey when I was in secondary school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then
We
I
have a
went
hockey
to
master here. He's called Jimmy Lee Quist. We'll introduce you to him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Then I went to UPS.
Why are you laughing?
Oh, I'm just excited
Please
at
don't
the
mind Nana.
prospects.
Okay, don't worry. You meet Jimmy.
Then I went to
Hockey
UPSA.
expert, yeah. Okay.
I went to UPSA. I did a BSc in marketing.
Okay.
Interestingly, Samens was my services marketing lecturer.
Okay.
That was one of the best experiences I've had.
Beautiful.
Then I took a course in environmental management.
Okay.
It was an elective. It wasn't compulsory. But I was like, in a few years' time, this whole environmental management thing will become big.
How many people were in your class?
Well, not a lot because the lecturer was seen to be wicked.
Sometimes, sometimes it's not the lecturer, but there are certain courses that if you don't have a certain foresight, you won't think of it. That's why I asked you how many people, because you growing up, you had all these, you know, how do you call it, experiences, to be working with stuff. So you could think far to know that, okay, maybe in the next few years, this will
anticipate it.
Exactly.
So I have the environmental management background also from my first degree.
Yeah.
So all these things went to influence the way I see problems, the way I respond to problems.
Right.
And I feel that the solution can always be me. So that's been my influence.
Do you think it's a divine orchestration? Because from your upbringing, early stages, sent to train with handymen, sent to learn carpentry, changing oil and changing tires at 11. Then, of course, going through the system, getting to uni, and anticipating a course that will be beneficial to you in the future.
Yeah. As a Christian, I would say yes.
Yeah.
But God speaks to all of us. Even when we are doing something wrong, there's a voice in our head that speaks to us, even though we ignore it sometimes. So,
that voice never tells you where money is.
It does. We don't listen.
Hey.
Just pay attention. Because
listen.
that voice is not loud.
It's not loud.
Exactly.
Teach us to listen.
That was say it upstairs. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, you did marketing. With product development, you identify challenges, problems in society, and then you develop something to solve it. You were looking at plastics, you were looking at waste and all that. What really was the inspiration? What was the motivation? What did you want to achieve? Was it that you were creative, so you wanted to probably create stuff, you know, as decor, as this or that? Was there a problem you needed to? What exactly did you identify that pushed you into this field?
So for me, it was more of trying to solve a problem, and I'm naturally artistic. So I've had a very short poetry and spoken word career. Where I've shared the same stage with Sarkodie, I've shared the same stage with Manifest, I've shared the same stage with Simi of Nigeria and KSM. And I've shot one of my poems at London Bridge in the UK. And this was over a 4-year period. I just woke up one day and I started writing. I just started writing and that was it.
So now coming back to this, you said you wanted to solve a problem. What problem did you want to solve?
So the pollution problem,
right?
The smoke from the burning of the plant is very poisonous. Personally, I was suffering. I could have asthmatic attacks and end up in the hospital. And I was like, if I don't find a solution to this problem, I can die.
Right, right.
So I was like, what can I do to fix the problem?
And what came to mind?
So I was thinking I could use art as a powerful tool to influence people by making stuff from plastic waste that people will be fascinated by.
Right.
And that was why I thought the Christmas tree was the first thing I could do, because I realized that along my journey through the whole plastic waste project,
Right.
what I show people stays with them more than what I tell people.
Of course.
So I was like, how do I convert what I want to tell people into things they can experience
Tangible
themselves?
things.
That's how I'm always thinking. I was like, do the Christmas tree from bottles, put lights in them. If you put it outside, people see it for themselves. You don't have to explain it to anybody. So that's how I'm always looking at the problems. So I made the Christmas trees, and we've been doing the Christmas tree for the last 7 years.
Okay. I'm not sure which year it was, but I think maybe 2 or 3 years, there was a bottle, I don't know if you saw it, Christmas tree like that, at the Ridge Runabout.
Ridge Runabout, yes.
Yes, I don't know if
a
you saw
huge
that.
one.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
You made that?
Yes, so the Ridge Runabout, the lighting they do every year,
Yeah.
that particular year, we had the opportunity to add our bottle trees to the installation.
Right.
So we had 2 of the trees in that installation. I think the BBC even did a documentary on it that year.
So let's look at the first Christmas tree that you created. Where did you get the bottles from? So you started roaming around, picking stuff from them?
So I was working on a project.
Okay.
It was an NGO project, One Ghana Movement. We were doing some bean installations. I was responsible for that project. We did about 150 beans along the Liberation Road. And then I was thinking about what waste can be used for. So I was doing some research, I was doing some sketches, and at the office, they normally do, the mother company normally do board meetings. And then when I come in the mornings...
Which office?
The One Ghana office.
Okay, all right.
They share the office with the Seaboard.
Okay.
That's Chamber of Bulk or Distributors, I think. And then they do board meetings, and then they leave plastic bottles behind. So I always come and meet it. And the cleaner will collect it. So I was like, well, I want to use the bottles for something. So can you collect them and then you give them to me? So that was where I got the bottles from. They were not contaminated. They were separated from source. Because I have asthmatic allergy, so that was critical for me. Separation from source was important. Otherwise, I was going to get into problem because the plastic is contaminated. So that was where I got the raw material from initially. So I take it home every day that I get it. And then when I had enough, I started building the tree.
So the compound house that you are living in, you could find space to, or you're not taking them there?
Eventually, I was sacked from the house.
But of course, you'll be
Yeah,
sacked from the house.
you're bringing waste to the house.
Landfill
And
site.
people reported me to the landlord. So,
Of course.
yeah,
I would have even reported you.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
So
So that was a setback,
Yeah.
huh?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
He lifted me from the compound house where there was one toilet to somewhere bigger.
I had plenty toilets.
And sometimes that's how
An extra room.
That's how God takes you to
You
the next
see,
level. He makes you uncomfortable where
Exactly.
you
Then
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Yeah, good.
So that Christmas tree, how many bottles did you use?
are. So the first tree had about 340 to 390 bottles in it. The first tree was about 10 feet tall tree. That was the first design. And then we got to a place where we had the 15 feet that had 2,000 bottles in it. That's like the biggest trees that we've done.
So
Where did you put that one?
Yeah, where are they?
So sometimes we have companies pay us to do the trees for them. We have trees that have gone to mining sites in the Ashanti region. We have trees that have gone to hospitals in Keta in the Volta region. We have trees that have gone to residential spaces like Manet Court, where we did it with the kids in the community.
Oh, wow, that'd be fun.
So the trees go everywhere.
They go everywhere.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. But aside the trees, what else have you done with these bottles? Even before we get to where you are now with the technology and the mechanization and everything with what you're doing.
So I originally have been doing bottle bins. So 240-liter dustbins made from bottles. We normally install it at events, especially in embassies and all these places. I've also done flower vase, also from bottles.
Like these ones?
Yes,
Or
like similar to this one,
Right.
but more exciting than this.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
very colorful. Also, we've done a shed. We built a shed from the bottles where you can
A
see
shed?
Yeah, it's like a shed. There are bottles on the side, the back. It's like if you go to, we built at a football pitch site where people can sit and watch the game.
Yeah.
And inside the roof, we just made a mesh and then we poured the bottles in there before we roofed it.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've done a lot over the period.
Okay, look at what is on the screen. What is this?
So 3 years ago, I built a bus shelter from 3.5 tons of waste at Jolu Junction near Fiesta Royal.
Right.
That's
the
one
traffic
of the
light.
most
Yeah.
the traffic light. That was one of the most exciting projects I've ever worked
Wow.
on. So he had Chaliwate waste from the beach. He had bottle tops and gallons in there. He had plastic lumber melted from plastic in there. He had car tire flower pots hanging on the sides of it.
Wow. So you work with only plastics?
Mainly, and scrap metals.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
So hold on just a little bit for us, you know. So quite an interesting conversation, you know. And I'm looking at stuff on the screens, and I think that I would want to get, you know, the flower beds, you know, something like that, very colorful. Maybe because of where I come from, when I see bright colors, I'm happy. Anyway, let's take a breather here. We'll be right back.
This year, take the first step towards a deeper connection with God and one another. Join us for the Family Consecration Service, a powerful journey of faith, love, and renewal. In 2025, we are called to consecrate our homes, our hearts, and our lives.
The Lord is protecting you with His favor this morning in the name of Jesus. May the Lord favor your going out. May the Lord favor your coming in.
To dedicate ourselves and our families to the path of faith, grace, and unity. Through prayer and reflection and a shared devotion, the Family Consecration Service 2025 brings families closer together, strengthens bonds, and invites God's presence into every corner of our homes. It's on Thursday, 1st of May 2025 from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. The venue is the Oil Dome, Royal House Chapel International, Accra. There will be renewal of vows for married couples.
On this occasion, I'm asking you to forgive me for all the hits and pain I have caused you.
Join countless families around the world as we come together to consecrate our lives in the spirit of love and faith. A consecration for today and for generations to come. Make this year a new beginning. Family Consecration Service 2025 for the love of God and the love of family. Join us this year. Together, let's consecrate our families and our hearts.
Alrighty, you're welcome back. This is the Upside Down Show here on ChannelOne TV. We're having an amazing conversation with a man who wears maker like 1,000 hats. He's an innovator, an entrepreneur. He's an environmentalist. At some point, well, he says he still is a poet. He's an artist. I mean, what are you not? Makafu Awuku is still here with us, and it's amazing what you've been doing. Before we went on the break, we were discussing that shelter at Jolu Junction.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful to see. I use that stretch because I drive on the motorway, so I like to hit the N1 and come all the way to the Achimota over, and then I turn there before I come here to the office. And so I saw it. It was beautiful. But after a while, it vanished. So tell us about it. How challenging was it? No, not challenging. Must have been exciting. So how exciting was it putting this bus stop up? What held it together? Because you work with waste, right? So what held it together? What technology went into that? Tell us all about it.
Okay. I couldn't sleep after building that bus shelter. I'll tell you when I started sleeping. So as I said earlier, it was the same concept as the Christmas tree.
Right.
Do installations that people can experience for themselves.
Yeah.
So a bus shelter where people sit and wait for the bus.
Yeah.
They are close to, there's more than 500,000 cars that pass that place in a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we want to fix the problem, we need to show people what is possible.
Yeah.
And we need them to see for themselves. So we wrote to the assembly, and then we had a private company that worked within the municipality that was willing to fund it.
Right.
And then we pushed it, we got the permit, and then we built it. So the shelter is built, those black things you see, they are not wood.
Okay.
It's plastics. I had a partner organization at Dakuman. They melt the plastics, they turn it in wood-like boards.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Those are not wood?
Yes, that's not wood. That's plastics.
Wow.
So those were the materials we used to build the frame.
The frame, right.
Now, the backdrops you see, those are Adinkra symbols that have been drawn on flip-flops that we recovered from the beach. When you go to the beach, one of the things you see a lot is flip-flops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we recovered the flip-flops, we turned it into an artwork, which was Adinkra symbols, and then we installed it in the bag. So when you sit there, the artwork is behind you. Then we use car ties to make hanging flower pots. We use bottle tops and gallons to do the inside roof. So when you sit, you can see the inside roof is very colorful. And then we actually introduced some high-level state-of-the-art technology. We did 3D printing of sustainability and environmental sustainability messages, and then we installed it at the base of the bus shelter. So you see, don't drop waste on the floor, use the dustbin, drink from reusable bottles. It was all installed there with the images, and then when you sit there, it was speaking to you.
Right.
So,
How long did it take you to do this?
it took about 3 weeks to build. We fabricated some of the things from our facility and the academic city where I work as a technology manager before we moved them to site.
Right.
And then we started doing the work from on site. So it took some time, and it was very, very challenging.
It was amazing. And along the line, some other people joined you, because we saw some clocks, caveman clocks.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. So the whole structure was supposed to be an indigenous project.
Right.
Everything from locally from here. And caveman watches. We thought it was nice. I mean, you are traveling, there's a clock, there's a big clock somewhere you can see the time. We're even thinking of putting a radio in the roof.
Yay.
So, you know, Channel 1 TV, City FM,
you're listening to,
you know.
Prime News.
So it was like a full-blown concept that we wanted to do. And we had a private company that was willing to come along and fund the initial one. So it was very exciting.
But why don't we have them anymore?
So a couple of things happened after we built this. And sometimes we are like, government doesn't maintain public place installations. And we are complaining. And then one of the lessons I learned when I built this project was that you can build a project, have a maintenance plan that in 2 years' time, you replace the thing. 1 week after you built it, somebody drives into it and damages it. There's no budget to build a new one the next day. And that was and excuse me, somebody even took somebody came to defecate even in the space.
Which space?
The bus shelter.
At the shelter?
How?
Yes. And then some people came, they were trying to peel off the Chalewate waste in the installation. And then people will be driving from the motorway over speeding, they fail their brake, they climb the pavement, they're thinking that thing looks like it can help me stop. Then they crash into it. So there were a few accidents, and finally somebody just destroyed the entire structure. So that's what happened. So I couldn't sleep when I built it. It was when it was finally destroyed that I was able to sleep. Because now I wouldn't wake up for somebody to call me, oh, something happened at the bus shelter. It was very stressful.
No, this junction, our problem in this country is spiritual.
It's mental.
No, because I don't know what else to say. So, can you recycle our brains?
Perhaps you should start looking into that, recycling our brains,
no,
or rewiring.
This is so beautiful, and you would love to see a lot of these dotted around. Eventually, even have all our bus stop shelters, replaced to have things like this. And for me, this is a great way that we can recycle waste. That we don't know.
Only bus stops only. There's
so much we can do with
we walk distances. It could be sitting somewhere where you can catch your breath and then move on.
How we've complained about, not having rest stops, on long stretches and all that. If we have innovations like these, we are okay. So how did you feel, when eventually you saw the whole thing come down?
I was sad. I mean, but it was an exciting project. We wanted to show what was possible. And
Are you still sad?
It lasted for like 7 months.
Are you still sad?
No, I've moved on.
You've moved on.
Right.
Right. So now you're into other innovative stuff. So run us through what you're able to use waste for now.
Okay.
Because this bag is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
If perhaps we should think of changing the straps so we can run it as a backpack.
Yeah.
I
have a backpack. It's in my car.
Okay.
It's in my car.
Beautiful.
I'm not
I have a laptop bag.
surprised.
It makes life easier. And then maybe a strap on, a man satchel, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So.
And the coasters are super.
So MCKINTORCH Africa, what we do. So our slogan or our pillars are sustainable communities and cities.
Right.
So the aim is that if our communities are not sustainable, if our cities are not sustainable, no person can live their dreams. None of us can. Because I remember there was a case where there was a medical doctor who worked at Kolebu. It was raining. She was trying to drive through the water along the Nungwa stretch, and she got carried away by the water.
Yes.
So, and if you live in Trasacco and you're still in town, you can still be carried away by the water. So our communities need to be sustainable. So our goal was to design programs and projects that can help us get to that place where we are achieving sustainable communities. So we do trainings. We've designed training modules on environmental sustainability, and we designed the training from scratch because there are a couple of these trainings around where people get the knowledge, they just go away, they don't use the knowledge for anything. But we wanted people to live and start taking action. So we're very intentional about the model, and we've trained 15,000 young people in Liberia, in Ghana, and Nigeria.
Wow.
I traveled to Kaduna State, the hometown of Boko Haram, to train young people in recycling in 2019.
You get Vimo.
Yeah. I actually came back before I was told that that's the hometown of Boko Haram.
Boko Haram.
And then we also do product innovation. So I was thinking that the plastic pollution problem will not go away unless we find long-term use for the waste.
For the waste.
Because you're manufacturing them every day.
Yeah. So my question was, how can we turn the waste into a relevant raw material that can become useful for production, other production processes? And this one required a lot of research and a lot of patience. And because I had a science background, I was like, plastics have an elastic element. And if you apply heat to it, it can melt, it could stretch. When it cools, it could give you something else. So I was like, what kind of machines could I use to try out that experiment and see what I can get? So there's a particular machine not meant for doing that. I repurposed it. It was meant for something else. But I told the machine, I'm going on a journey, you have to come with me. Let's try this, let's see if it will work. So it took me 4 years to do an experiment where I was able to turn the plastic waste into a leather-like material. So during the pandemic, the footwear you see on the board, I launched it during the pandemic when everybody thought they were going to die. I came with people were depressed. I came with something exciting that lifted people's spirits. So I launched this footwear during the pandemic. We sold more than 4,000 pairs, and we exported.
So how much is this?
So this was around the 150 cedis.
You still sell them?
We not at the moment. We are trying to relaunch this because the jute soles, these are not made in Africa. So we were importing it, and the dollar rate was all over the place.
Well, we can't do this at home.
Jute soles are not produced in Africa for some funny reason. So it's imported from Spain and a couple of other places.
We
so
use waste to make some.
Exactly. But now I can use. So now I can use my material to make the soles for footwear.
Like this or differently?
Yeah, I can use my material to make this kind of soles.
To get this sole?
Yes, or do other sole designs.
But you have this one too?
Yes. So this one's some of the materials are sourced locally. So this is a different type of design. So we are relaunching. The designs will look more like this ones this year.
So what materials did you use to get these?
So the top are colored plastic bags. You see, when you go to shops to buy stuff, those colored bags, they
like the blue, like the thank you bags and
so
stuff like that.
we shred them and then we use them to make the leather.
Oh my God! I was just wondering. I mean, if you had given me 1,000 years, I wouldn't have even
the footwear.
Thought about that. So same with this.
Yeah, that's a chopping board.
Yeah.
How strong is this?
It's very strong.
Well, strong.
Wow, it bends.
Yeah.
Because of the plastic nature of
plastic
it, the elasticity.
Exactly. So
wow.
It's a bit of science.
But what did you use for the coasters?
So the coasters is the same material. So we make the sheet, it's a bit thicker than this. And then we put it under a CNC machine. There are these machines that are like 3D printers. They have a drill bit, and then you tell it what to do, and you write as if it's a pen that is cutting designs. So we have a partner company that say, oh, they want some coasters, so can we do some samples for them? So these are samples we did for the company to take a look at, see if they like it for us to.
Beautiful.
And your desks and the side tables and you're doing so much.
I'm going to class. I'm going to
write
my exam.
This is my favorite of the products.
Yeah.
The reason is that we still have children learning on the floor, on the bare floor in Ghana. I've had somebody do some research in some part of Ghana where we've documented this ourselves. So imagine children are excited about education, becoming somebody in future.
Yeah.
And then they have to deal with going to sit on the floor to learn. They develop back problems, other health problems, and if you're not lucky, they lose interest in education.
Of course,
at some
entirely,
point.
yeah.
And we're thinking, Accra is polluted, the major cities are polluted, and then we have a deficit in educational infrastructure and furniture.
Yeah.
So can we turn the plastic into a raw material that we can use for school desks? And that's one of the things I've been experimenting, working on. And last year we were done with the experiment, and this year we are doing a pilot. We are doing 700 desks.
Wow.
Each desk has...
Is this on order or?
So we have two organizations that have paid us to do 200 desk pilots. And then there was a grant that we applied for in 2021. It's a UNIDO and MESTI grant. They finally approved it this year.
Oh, super.
And that one is for 500.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That one is for 500 decks. So when we are done, we'll look for schools that don't have decks, and then we'll install it to these schools.
Beautiful.
You sell it to them?
No, it's for free.
Free?
It's being paid for by the grant.
The grant.
So our job is to produce them and then install them.
But if you have to sell this, how much would it go for?
So at the moment, this is 700 cedis.
Okay.
At the moment. It's a bit higher than wooden decks because it's a new innovation.
Okay.
We are still improving upon it. There's a little bit of wood in there because of the structural integrity, but we are doing some other innovations to increase the quantity of plastics in there and eventually make it 100% plastic. So eventually become much cheaper. When you are scaling, you are producing more, you have more machines.
But how durable is this?
It's very durable. You can stand on top of it.
Really?
You can climb and stand on it.
The stubborn boys at the back.
You can do that.
The stubborn boys at the back.
You can sit.
No, say there. I'm sure it can carry.
Yeah, man.
Are you comfortable?
Super. Super.
Wow. Wow.
Oh yeah, I feel good.
But so let me find out from you. You know, at the very beginning of this whole innovation, you wanted to solve the problem. With where you are right now, how do you feel? When you look back, how do you feel about the journey?
I think initially I didn't even know where I was going. You know, I'm growing, and somebody even told me that you are growing, you are wasting your time. Like, when you find something more stable to go into. Somebody told me that before. But the conviction to do this was like a heavy burden. It was very strong. Like, this is where God has planted me. This is what He wanted me to do. So I just kept going, but I was very intentional about the things I was doing and where I wanted to go with it, and where we want to see this eventually. So it was very purposeful and very intentional. So I feel very fulfilled that we can get to a place where we have been able to commercialize a couple of products.
What has it done for you?
I've met the King of England in the flesh because of this project.
King Charles?
Yes.
Okay.
I met King Charles.
Yeah.
My work was selected for him to experience.
Super. In England or in Ghana?
No, when he came to Ghana in 2018.
Right. Yes.
And then I had an invitation to do a guest lecture in the UK. University of Brighton invited me.
Are you kidding me?
At the time, I didn't even have a master's, but I was addressing PhD students.
Oh, of course. Wow.
That's huge. That's huge.
I've traveled a few countries on the continent to train other young people. I've brought in grants worth about $200,000 in the last few years to implement a lot of projects.
Right.
And I'm currently training 100 Kayayo women and other women living with various forms of disability in various recycling business models. So I feel very fulfilled.
Super.
And I'm able to get to a point where the plastics can become useful for other productions that are long-term, that it doesn't come back to the environment. And I'm able to set up other young people and support them on a similar journey.
Wow. No, you are a lifesaver.
Mark,
You're a
thank you
problem
so
solver.
much. Thank you. This has been good.